Question. Who's your favorite saint?
My favorite saint? Well, that's a hard question for sure, but I can give you a couple
That's a
suggestions.
bad question. I know. Putting
No,
you
it's
on the
not a bad
spot.
question. I'll do a personal connection to the Saints, but I will say this. So when I was being baptized, again, like this is one thing I think that we could work on. I didn't know what the baptism would really look like. I'd been to the baptism of some babies, but I didn't know
Yeah.
what my baptism would look like.
You look
I didn't
like
know
exactly.
anything really. The priest and my priest who was there, we had two priests at the time, one who spoke English and one who didn't. The priest who spoke English was out of town, so I was being like physically turned and like so when we were doing the chrismation, he would take my hands and like turn them over because he couldn't tell me what to turn over his. So, like little things like that. So, and I didn't know what to expect. But one thing I really didn't expect was being asked who my spiritual father would be. And
Okay.
I was standing there and saying, is there anyone who you would like to be your spiritual father? And there was one man in the church who I really looked up to, and he wasn't there at the time. And I was kind of spacing his name too. And so at this moment, I was like, well, okay. So I ended up just saying Abune GebreMenfes Kidus. I
Wow.
want Abune GebreMenfes Kidus to be my spiritual father. And the reason for this choice is that I find in him a perfect surrendering to the will of God.
Mm,
And it's in his name as well, right? The
exactly.
servant of the Holy Spirit, right?
Mm.
Somebody who completely empties themselves to live out the will of God. And I, again, like I was talking about earlier, I really look up to the hermits and the monks more than anyone because I think that they really show us what a true Christian life looks like. Someone whose
Exactly.
only concern in life is to be like Jesus Christ.
Mm.
And Abune GebreMenfes Kidus being one of the most prominent in our church, his story has always really called to me. And so that's why I selected him. But I will say that most of my favorite saints are monks and hermits. I also have a special connection with the sort of medieval period Ethiopian saint Walata Petros. If
Oh,
you've
well,
heard
it's
of
a Petros. Okay.
Walata Petros,
You write about her?
yeah, I've read about her, and some of her works are just being translated into English now. So
Okay.
I've been enjoying that. And as somebody who comes from a philosophical background, she really
Mm.
is
Oh, she
one of the
was
saints.
into philosophy.
Yeah, she wrote quite a lot, especially even like a lot of polemical writings against the Portuguese Jesuits who were sort of trying to convert Ethiopia to Catholicism at the time.
Mm.
Um, and so I look up to her quite a lot. And then another is Gebre Christos, who is a 20th century saint from modern day Eritrea. Um, and I really look up to him, and I ask him for his prayers quite often. He's someone I look up to. So really, those three figures I would say are very important. But of course, the greatest of all saints here, um, the Waladit Amlak,
Well, that is like, yeah.
yeah, important of all saints,
Mm.
and should be for anyone. But yeah.
Good. I get to hear that. Well, maybe we'll have not to talk just about the saints. You'll have a lot of interesting saints that have, just like you mentioned, sinful life and he became a saint. People, saints who were really into philosophy and even atheists and things like that, and it became one of the greatest saints in our church. So maybe in another episode we're going to talk about them. What would you recommend to the people who want to join the church, but they don't know where to start?
So I would say it can be very intimidating, certainly, and you might feel that you'll stand out and all these things. But in my experience, I can tell you that the people are the most welcoming, and you really just have to make that first step and come and visit the church. And every church that I've ever visited has had plenty of resources and many people who are willing to talk to you and answer your questions. Just
Mhm.
come to the church and ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. There are very smart people and very spiritual people in our churches whose calling really is to answer your questions. Yeah, so don't be afraid to visit.
Wow, good. I think that's what I would say also. Not just reading, researching online, that will help you, to get there, but visiting is the most important part of the searching process. So I would say just find a local Orthodox church, wherever you live, and you'll find one. I'm sure nowadays, I cannot think of any state that doesn't have any Orthodox church. So you'll find something around your area. Maddix, thanks so much. Thank you for coming and share your experience and your journey to the Orthodox Church, and I really appreciate it. And hopefully, I'll talk to you soon with different topics.